Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos, he's Bill Rice Jr., and we're starting a Tuesday, July the 30th, so one more big day left in July, and it's all downhill toward college football. Don't you agree?
We're counting down the days. My wife is dreading it because she knows I go into game face mode once college football starts.
Exactly right. And of course,
she has to take care of the kids all day on Saturdays when I'm watching games from 11 in the morning till midnight.
Yeah. Well, to give you an introduction to the college football season, and Auburn kicks off in Dallas, Texas, against the Ducks of Oregon. Is that right? Is that Auburn and Oregon?
What a great game, yep.
Is that right, ladies and gentlemen? From Dallas, Texas, it's the Auburn Tigers against the Oregon Ducks in one of the top opening season games of the year. Auburn, last time they played the Ducks, they played for a national championship, didn't they? Is that right?
That's right.
And a little bit of revenge for the Ducks coming into Dallas at Jerry World. But again, War Eagle, one more time, the Auburn Tigers and the Oregon Ducks to open the season this football Saturday, August the 31st.
In Jerry World.
Exactly right.
Somebody gives me an airline ticket and a ticket, I would go.
Well, and then at the same time, the Crimson Tide of Alabama against the Duke Blue Devils. What do you think?
I say in basketball, I would pick Duke. But this is football, right?
Yes, and this is Big Al, and this is a 2:30. Do you know the game time yet?
I think it's afternoon, but I might be wrong.
And this guy will find out right now. What time does Alabama play Duke to open the season?
I think so. They're 2:30 or 3:30 on ABC.
And they got ABC Primetime Network. And Big Al and the Crimson Tide of Alabama get ready. And boy, Alabama got stunned yesterday.
They're not the 7 o'clock game. They're like the 2:30 game or 3:30.
Auburn's the 7 o'clock game then, is that right?
But I'll tell you, it'll be in...
Auburn is, yeah.
You know what's important about that game, though, Mike? Both games, they will be played in the AC, in the air conditioning.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That makes a big difference. No question.
A good difference for the players and a big difference for the fans. Hey, I was reading the Dothan Eagle here, and I see that this Providence Christian pitcher Grayson Stewart of Dothan is committed to play for Troy University in baseball. And I'm reading the story, and I don't know, it doesn't mention who his family is, but I wonder if that Grayson Stewart is the son of Blaine Stewart
right,
that I went to high school, and Robert Earl Stewart, who was a long time.
I tell you what, if you show me a picture of him, I can tell you. He looks pretty close, doesn't he? And of course, Providence had one of the better teams they've had in many years. And what position does he play?
Pitcher, star pitcher.
And has he got any stats on him?
Yeah, he was 9-1 last year with a 1.94 earned run average.
I would think he's pretty good.
So, well, even if
surely we would have seen something on Facebook if that was the case. I mean, I'm not.
I got a feeling you're correct there. And of course, Blaine was quite a pitcher at Charles Henderson, and I think he played a little junior college ball too.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, a bad wreck in Troy last night, and I don't have the details, but in Pike County last night, 3 people were killed in a car wreck, and I hopefully will find out more information on that case. And then 2 more were rushed to life.
Yeah, the helicopter.
Helicoptered to different locations, and they're in critical condition. So it was a big wreck where it was involved a big 18-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's terrible.
We hate to hear stuff like that. definitely thoughts and prayers go out to all the families. I don't know if it's anybody we know or not.
Yeah, and of course the candlelight vigil the other night on the square for Kelsey Starling was really, really touching, and they raised money to help provide more search operations on Smith Lake, north of Birmingham. Where that.
I was going to mention Troy football fall camp starts. The players actually report on Thursday. Their first practice will be Friday, August the 2nd at 9 a.m. So after the show, you can go to watch Troy practice for the first time in football for their 2019 season.
And let me tell you, they had some great footage under your favorite broadcaster in Montgomery, Mike. They had some real good footage on the new stadium playing surface.
Yeah, it was like a 360 view. I saw that yesterday.
I saw it with Tanya Terry, and if we could go to Tanya Terry up there in the booth there, I think we can probably get some footage on that beautiful, beautiful stadium. It's as pretty as you'll find anywhere.
I agree.
You can go on TroyChargers.com and just
we don't have to order that grass to make it green, and of course you're.
I've got the whole schedule up. If you want to hear all the schedule for the summer.
Okay, tell us.
Well, I mean, basically, like we mentioned, they'll report on Thursday. The first practice will be at 9 a.m. on Friday, August the 2nd. Then on Saturday, August the 3rd, they'll practice at 9 a.m. Sunday, they'll practice at 9 a.m. Monday, they'll practice at 9 a.m. Wednesday, the 7th, they'll practice at 9 a.m. Thursday, August 8th, 9 a.m. Friday, August 9th, 7 a.m. And then Friday, they'll have their first scrimmage media day. So anybody wanting to see the first scrimmage and go to media day will be August the 10th.
Yeah, okay.
At 9:30 a.m. Then Monday they'll practice August the 12th at 9 a.m. Tuesday August 13th at 8 a.m. And then Wednesday at August the 14th school starts at Troy University, and then Thursday August 15th 3:40 p.m. Friday August 16th 3:40 p.m. and then Saturday August the 17th there'll be a scrimmage at 9:30 a.m. fan day from 1 to 3 p.m. and the football kickoff party that Mike Amos used to be a big part of at 6 p.m. But you will not be able to attend that, Dad, because you'll be at my wife's 40th birthday party in Great Beach, Florida.
I'll be at half of that. Let's say that.
40's the new 30.
No question about it.
You can go to the scrimmage and drive down.
Yeah, but I'm not. I've got another thing I got to go to before I go to the scrimmage, though. Hey, I got a haircut yesterday or last night at 8 o'clock, or maybe a little bit after 8 o'clock, right next to Publix, and the name of this new barbershop is called Great Clips. The name of it's a national franchise.
That's a national chain. They're all over the place.
Oh yeah, and they listen. I went in, and for $2.99, I gave her a tip, but it was a great haircut. I got it last night about 9 o'clock, and they're going to be giving you those $2.99 haircuts until the 26th of August. Then it goes to $15. But I'm going to tell you what, big time place to get your haircut, men and women, should really, really be good. And the girl that cut my hair was excellent, and it's real nice looking facility, and they've got about 10 seats. So 10 people will be getting a haircut at one time. And
I mean, this is like taking us back to 1968
exactly
haircut
right.
prices.
And I got a little of my hair cut off, but
that's crazy that you went. Hey, were you just randomly going by and got a haircut?
Yeah, I knew about it. I bumped into him earlier, and in fact, he might be on our show today. That guy that owns the franchise. But the girls were outstanding, and right now they open up at 9 o'clock Monday through Friday till 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock till 9 o'clock Monday through Friday. Then on Saturdays, they go from 9 to 6, and from Sundays, they go from 1 to 5.
Perfect time to get your back to
So
school
don't
haircut.
tell me I didn't have time to get and they do children's hair, they do women's, men's.
I'm taking little Jack Rice to get. He needs a haircut.
Little Jack Rice.
My little 3-year-old son.
Yeah. That boy, I tell you what, you got some thick hair, don't you?
It's so boring.
Would you almost call that a mop? Bill Rice Jr.
That's definitely good to have in a college town, though. All these college kids having all kinds of crazy hours. So I think that's smart to have. That's a good investment that guy made.
And let me tell you this. You know how sometimes people will turn you away from the mirror when they're cutting your hair?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's almost like they don't want you to watch them mess up. Well, the whole time I was looking in the mirror. And I like that. And if you want to make a comment, you can say, well, I want that part a little bit lower or whatever.
Have you ever had one of those haircuts where you don't look in the mirror or pay attention to what they're doing, and then you finally do, and you go, oh my gosh, what did they do?
Mike, did you get to take advantage of some of the footage that came out of our party this weekend?
I watched a little bit of it. I looked at pictures more and did some of the videos. It looked like a good time, though.
Well, we really did.
How did the shades sound as wonderful as ever?
Well, they were good, and you know they're not perfect because they're all in the 70s, and most of them are, and you know they got started sort of slow, and then they got better and better and better and better.
They got any family members that are going to take their spots one day, so the shades will live on, or how's that going to work?
I don't know, but if I know a few of them, they'll play as long as they can.
Well, heck, the Rolling Stones are touring right now, I think, and Mick Jagger must be 92.
Yeah, that's right. 3 people were killed and 4 injured in apparent crashes, including a log truck, boy, that's bad, and 2 vehicles late Monday night. The crashes took place around 10:40 on County Road 2276, known as the Henderson-Glenwood Road, and both involved the single log truck. This is very fluid investigation, but previously, with a lot of moving parts, Sergeant David Brooks said, from the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, we cannot release details at this time, but this involved a commercial motor vehicle and 2 sedans, whatever that is.
2 sedans.
Yeah, that's right. Sedans. That would be the right pronunciation. Brooks said 3 individuals died at the scene, including 1 resident of Crenshaw County and 2 Pike County residents. 2 individuals, including 1 teenager, were transported by helicopter to Montgomery, and 2 others were transferred by ambulance to area hospitals. Of the 7 people involved, now isn't that something now? Of the 7 people involved, I know 5 said Pike County was where they were from, Russell Thomas. I know the families, and it's extremely hard, and it's a very difficult time for everyone. That's saying these were well-known people in the community. It's going to be tough on this community. It's going to take a while to heal. We're talking about evidently some well-known people in the community.
I mean, we don't know anything right now. We don't know any names.
And I'm not giving out any names. I've already mentioned that.
Well, I know, but let's just wait until we hear about who this actually is.
And some will never heal. That's just some of the comments, but it gives you an indication that these are pretty well-known people. Brooks said multiple area agencies responded to the scene, including the Pike County and Crenshaw County Sheriff's Department, the Pike County District Attorney's Office, the Pike County Coroners, the Brantley Police Department, and Troy Fire and Rescue, and Henderson Glenwood Volunteer. Boy, they had a lot of it. Haynes Ambulance also. Some of these people have known some it says here, some of the people have known some of the victims all their lives, and this takes a different meaning, Brooks said. Thomas echoed the sentiments expressing his personal grief and concern from the families of those involved. Our hearts and our prayers go out to the families. It's a very, very sad time. Just pray for these families that are involved, as Thomas said. And that is sad news, and I read it like it came off the press, and we'll
give the source for the story. The source was.
We'll find other people.
This is from the TroyMessenger.com.
Yeah, and like I said, they're not going to release the names until later on, I'm sure. But what scares me, it is. I'm worried about it being young people, and that's what really scares me. And anybody losing their lives is bad, but young people, it makes it really, really bad. They think they have found a possible person that was involved in the shooting death of the
Troy University student.
Well, and he also.
He was an alumni student. He was 30 years old.
Yeah, and of course he worked for the J&S Buy-Right downtown Brundage, and again that was sad news. And they have. I'm gonna wait to let everybody read the Messenger today to get into that. Of course. A lot of other things, like Mike said, football season just around the corner. We were talking about college, but Mike, I believe the high schools are already going at it. What do you think?
Yeah, I was reading an article about Terry Bowden going to Clemson, and Dabo Swinney was pretty much being really honest and telling Terry he had no position he could offer him. And then he said he was kind of in shock when Terry decided that he was going to be a GA and get his master's. And then, Swinney, of course, goes on and on about how much he respects the Bowden family and how much Terry has to offer as a coach, that he's kind of in a reset mode. You don't hear too many coaches in a reset mode at 63 years old. So, still pretty shocking that Terry Bowden is going to be a graduate assistant at Clemson. Big news out of Tuscaloosa yesterday, and this is great for Alabama football fans who have to suffer through Western Carolina and horrible games like New Mexico State. Alabama signs a home and home with a Big Ten school yesterday. They will play Wisconsin in 2024 and 2025. 2024, they will head to Madison, and then they'll play Wisconsin in Tuscaloosa in 2025. So that's a good pickup for Alabama in football.
I've been to a game in Madison not too long ago and enjoyed watching it, watching Troy and Wisconsin play. Also, tickets are on sale for Troy University football, probably the best home schedule that we've ever had, with 6 home games coming in here, starting with Campbell University on August 31st, and then a huge game 2 weeks later against Southern Mississippi in Troy on September 14th. I haven't seen a time or day a time of day for that game. Have you seen it, Mike?
For what game?
For the Troy Southern Miss game. Have you seen anything on that?
I don't think that's been announced. But Bill, a good question for the Wisconsin series 2024, 2025. Will Saban coach those games?
I would say 50-50, Mike. He's what, 67, and so that would be 2024 is 5 years from now. He'd be 72. Nick Saban at 67 can move around and is in better shape than Bill Rice at 52. So if he wants to, he will.
We were talking about the Charles Henderson Troy High School Hall of Fame yesterday, who we put in it, and when I got off the show yesterday, I was thinking about a kid that all he did was he was the Sun Belt Player of the Year, and he probably could have played college linebacker. Joey Dennison is a guy that's going to be very high.
Yeah, you're right.
He was an unbelievable baseball player and football player, and this is recent.
Yeah.
So that's a name I want to throw out there.
We might need to go to a top 10. Is that?
You can make a strong case.
Great player too.
Yeah, you can make a strong case for his daddy. We talked about Willie Collins yesterday, but Joey Dennison was the John Hanna of that state championship team. I can still remember the Joey Dennison, Willie Collins one-on-one blocking drills.
Yeah, blocking that.
Yeah.
And of course, Joey played on played on a national championship team in football at Troy, and then he also played on a state championship team.
Like Willie, they were teammates, and Joey started at North Alabama, I think, but
and
he transferred back to Troy.
I want to think Joey might have played on 2 national championship teams in '84 and '87. But no, he wouldn't have because he graduated from high school in '80, so he played on the '84 team.
Yeah,
Troy and Southern Miss.
Troy Southern Miss 5 p.m.
5 p.m. start. They came down from the box first, Mike. We got a guy out there just ripping you apart with info this morning.
The Southern Miss game looks like we'll have no television options, which is not good. I wish that game would be on TV.
Well, everybody goes to the
I
game.
plan on going to that game, but I figured that might have got picked up.
I bet it will be before it's all over with, I would think.
ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus. It's already been set up.
I see ESPN Plus on the Campbell game to start the season. I'm not seeing it on the.
All right, the Campbell game, yes, but we're talking about the Southern Miss game.
How does
Southern Miss, I'm not seeing ESPN Plus.
How does ESPN Plus work, by the way?
ESPN Plus is something you have to buy if you have apps on your television, which I do because I have an Amazon Fire Stick where I can download the ESPN app, or you can watch it on your computer if you're on Troy Cable. But it's one of those things where you pay a subscription fee of $4.99 a month, and you have all these options to games that you can watch.
So you watch it on your desktop or iPad or phone?
I can watch it actually on my televisions because I have something called a Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Stick that's attached to my TV.
Yeah. I tell you what, I want to mention this before we get on. We'll be talking back and forth about several different topics today. But, hey, after an undefeated weekend, the Dixie Bells are still playing for a World Series championship, and there they are right there after going all the way through the weekend undefeated. They lost 13-3 to Louisiana yesterday, but now they continue their
quest for a
World Series championship, and let's read about it. After an undefeated start, the World Series over the weekend in Alexandria, Louisiana. You know, who do you know from Alexandria, Louisiana?
I don't know.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears. How about?
I'm good friends with Britney Spears.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'll tell you somebody else. Joe Adcock, who did what?
Who
did he play for?
He played for.
He pitched for Alabama?
No, Joe Adcock was the first baseman for the Milwaukee Braves, the old Milwaukee Braves that played in Milwaukee.
I was getting ready to say that.
He hit 4 home runs in a game at one time. But he was also the horse trainer for one very lovely lady that lives right around the corner from you.
Joan Beard?
No, but you're close.
Yes.
His daddy played quarterback, and your daddy played fullback.
Susan Murphy?
Yeah, Susan Murphy is from Alexandria, Virginia. No, Alexandria, Louisiana. Excuse me. All right.
Where is that? Is that North Louisiana? Where is that located?
North Louisiana. After Troy allowed 6 runs in the first inning, they allowed 1 more in the second before allowing 3 more in both the 5th and the 7th innings, and to fall behind by 10 runs. Troy sent 4 pitchers to the mound. During that time, Stella Gilbreth got the start and picked up the loss. And of course, now they are getting ready for a big battle today to stay in the tournament. And Troy's 10-run inning pushed them past Mississippi team 15-2, which was quite an effort. And in that game, the 10-run rule was in effect, and Madison Kane had a big hit, and Troy had 5 walks, and and 2 batters reached after being hit by a pitch. I reckon that you can win that way if you get 5 walks and 2 hit by pitches. But Leverett followed with 2 big, strong innings, and then Bella Malden pitched the final inning for that game. So we'll be keeping up. Troy was scheduled to take on Georgia on Monday night. So if anybody finds out what that score was, for complete Bells coverage, go visit www.troymessenger.com. Now, how about org? That's not in effect anymore. It's just
some people use org and some people use most people use .com.
Despite a loss in the World Series, the 8 and under team, which also went to Rushton, Louisiana, for their World Series after Troy fell 11-7 in the opener on Saturday against South Carolina. They turned around. They beat Florida 11-1 in the final game of the tournament, and then Troy fell 8-7 to Rushton, the home team, who scored 4 runs in the 7th inning.
Oh, what a heartbreaker. A heartbreaker. Terrible.
Head coach Will Sanderson said the tournament was excellent, and they really had a lot of fun.
So they had one big win, and then they lose a heartbreaker.
Whoever is responsible for, I say responsible, Mom, my daddy, they would be responsible, I would say. Brandon Golden, look at that. Now, would you love to have that picture of your son? I wish they could pick it up here. I don't know if they can or not. This is one of Dan Smith's pictures, I'm sure. But that is quite a picture that I would have blown up.
Into a poster, yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna see if I can get it blown up today, and I'll show it to you tomorrow and give it to the family. But that is a good-looking young 8 and under baseball player, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So, and then, of course, very good picture of the Bells, and don't count them out, but they're good.
Well, they played last night.
Look at that. That's real good. Just stay right there for a second. Stay right there. Let's see if we can pick this guy up.
You know, those oversized
look at this picture right
really
here
good.
now. This is one great. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Even though he is Jake Doty's son, look at that young man, 8 and under baseball player. What's his name? Brandon
Golden. It says Braden
Golden.
Golden.
Right, yeah. That's the picture of somebody right there. I think that's the picture of that team right there that fell in the World Series.
Look at those pretty Alabama uniforms. Look like the Crimson Tide.
Yeah. Now I want you to go to the new cover at the stadium, the new field at Veterans Stadium today. But it's great to see these guys.
Can I look at this?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Y'all want to hear who the Mount Rushmore possible candidates are? We talked about this earlier for different regions throughout Alabama, as far as the top players to come out of the Wiregrass, the top players to come out of Mobile, the top players to come out of Birmingham. Do you want to go over the list for the top players ever to come out of North Alabama?
Yes, do.
All right, so the first name to come out, this is the poll by AL.com. It's something they've been doing throughout the start of football
John
season.
Hanna.
So number one will be the poll has not been picked yet, so you can actually vote on it. Carnell Williams out of Etowah.
Yeah, okay.
They called him Cadillac. Ozzie Newsom out of Colbert County.
Oh, he was a great one.
He'll be on there.
I've actually been to Colbert County High School. It's amazing how they honor him up there. There's pictures everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
This guy was a phenomenal player at Auburn. Kerryon Johnson, Madison Academy.
Yep. Great play.
Bill Rice called it. John Hanna out of Albertville.
John Hanna, my good friend.
And then Hazelwood, Pierre Good. This guy, I was at a restaurant. I was sitting at a table the next night. Philip Rivers out of Athens.
Mm-hmm. Philip Rivers.
Of course, his dad was the head coach of Decatur High School and Athens High School. This guy played for Bill Battle.
Conrad Holloway.
That's correct. This guy still plays in the NFL for the Cincinnati Bengals. Gaston City's Drake Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah. Great player.
This guy got sacked by Auburn 12 times in a game.
Brody Kroll. Brody Kroll.
This guy's from Decatur. I don't remember him, but y'all probably will. Benny Perrin.
Yeah.
Benny Perrin played it.
He was a
You're
great
right.
safety at Alabama in the
Sure
70s.
did. Sure did. Played for the Cardinals and pro.
This guy put Alabama on probation.
The great one out of
Antonio Langham.
Antonio Langham. You're right.
Well, no, this guy put Alabama on probation first.
The guy that intercepted the pass and scored against
Gene
Florida
Jelks.
in the first.
Gene Jelks.
Gene Jelks out of okay. And of course he was out of.
Mostly Langham.
This guy put Alabama on probation second. Antonio Langham out of Hazelwood.
Yeah.
They were both in the same case, but the Langham one was the one that got Alabama.
Oh, I thought Langham signed on a napkin with an agent, and then Jelks was before back in the Curry days. I mean, back in the Perkins days.
But that case, when it was summarized, or it mentioned Jelks and Langham, even though Jelks was before Langham. But the Jelks charges were kind of vague and minor. There was no big-time proof.
And then Aaron Sears, a great player that played at Tennessee, out of Russellville. So that's
Boy,
where
you're talking about a low-profile guy. Is Aaron Sears?
Aaron Sears was a great player at Tennessee for Fulmer.
Really?
So out of that group, who's your Mount Rushmore?
Newsome.
I think Cadillac will get the vote.
Philip Rivers might be a Hall of Famer. That's a great group.
I think it's going to be Carnell, Ozzie Newsome. I think you'll have John Hanna, and then I think you'll have either Kerryon Johnson or.
How do you do that without putting the great one from out here at John Carroll? A great one from out here, John Carroll, Heisman Trophy winner.
John Carroll. This is North Alabama. John Carroll, Central Alabama, Birmingham.
Okay, you're right.
And Langham was a fantastic player.
Langham was a great
and
player.
I would have put Kerry Good on there way before Pierre Good.
Pierre was good early though.
Pierre was highly touted in high school.
Well, this is what they did in high school. This is why they're on there.
Yeah.
Okay, just high school. I got you.
I've got
Cadillac would be one. You're right.
Okay, that makes a difference.
Hannah, Ozzie Newsome.
Actually, there's names that were not on there as well. Rolando McClain, linebacker Decatur. Kerry Good was on there. Jordan Matthews, Trey Flowers, who's still playing in the NFL. Quarterback that played really well at.
Who does Trey Flowers play for?
Trey Flowers is all-pro out of Arkansas that played on the Super Bowl championship team with the Patriots.
I never heard of him, Mike.
I've heard of him.
He's a great player. And then I forgot Asia Martin, the kid that's out of Austin of Decatur that signed with Auburn, left Auburn, went to Miami, didn't like it down in Miami, and now is back in the transfer portal.
Yeah. Tell us about the big loss yesterday for Alabama. A guy has quit them, but they found out that he didn't even go to school this summer. And what kind of discipline is that?
It's a Noma kid.
Let me tell you something. There needs to be a coach outside of every if they have to enforce this. You can have a coach that'll watch him go to class.
You know, but it's been
that
speculated that he was kicked out of school, that he was suspended by the university, and so I don't think we've got the full story here.
Other names mentioned were Joe Cribbs out of Sulligent, Freddie Wagan out of Emma Sampson, Freddie Gibson out of Etowah, and then Alabama's offensive lineman Larry Rose.
Yeah. Philip Gargis played quarterback at Auburn, and he came out of the same school that Ozzie Newsome did. He was pretty good.
You know,
Culver County.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you.
You remember back in the day, Pike County used to always have to play Culver County. That's
right.
how they would win state championships.
They sure did.
I'll tell you a story. I think it was Philip Gargis. I went to elementary school in Opelika, as I mentioned several times on the show, and I loved my second grade teacher, Miss Blackman. Real pretty girl, and I think it was probably her first year teaching. She just graduated from Auburn.
Yeah.
And when we finished the year, she had a party for all her students at her house she was renting or living at. and she was friends with or was even dating the Auburn quarterback, Philip Gargis, I believe it was. Might have been Randy Walls. And we went to that party, and then for the whole party, all the boys played catch with the Auburn quarterback.
Well, yeah.
Can you imagine how exciting that was for a second grader?
That's right. It was probably Gargis. Gargis was a great player.
This would have been about whoever Auburn's quarterback was, circa 1971, 72, 73.
Exactly. Again, congratulations to Troy for nailing down one of the top players in the state. Now, does he have one more year of high school, or does he go to Troy right away?
He's a junior, so he's got one more
year. He got another year, so he could go into pro.
Michael, do you know this Stewart kid that signed with Troy? Is that any kin to Blaine and Robert Earl Stewart?
I have no clue. I hadn't heard that. This is in baseball?
Yeah. Well, Blaine lives in Dothan. He's an accountant down there.
Did Joe Gibbs die, the former owner? Is he still living?
I haven't heard he's died. The NASCAR owner?
Yeah. Is he still living?
His son died, but I think Joe's still alive.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. Of course, taking a look at some baseball news, and we'll be jumping back.
When will the Charles Henderson Pike County Jamboree be?
I'm not looking at it'll be played in Troy, I think.
First game played on the new turf.
Yeah, that's right. First game. I want to say the 16th, Mike. I want to say the 15th or the 16th. They open it up.
There's our turf. Look at boy.
There we go. That's what we've been looking for.
Thank you.
And can you move it around a little bit? Let us look at it.
That's all we've got. That is sharp, though. Boy.
And that is great. We'll use that as you know what, we might want to use that as our backup. I don't know how that would work. But that's the new stadium surface, and now he's moving that way toward the end zone.
Well, you got the different shades of green.
Yeah, and you're going to see that beautiful red end zone, what I like.
I like the T in the middle.
Yeah, and here's the red.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, John Hartwell and that power tee, when he was athletic director, that's really caught on.
I don't like it. We ought to have some kind of Trojan head or something.
Oh, really? You don't like the power tee? The power tee is everywhere.
Well, you might see it everywhere, but I don't particularly like it. I mean,
see, I kind of felt like the shields and the swords.
I didn't like
and the Troy in the middle, the original logo. I like when they went to
I did too.
I liked it last year that Troy went back to their uniform colors that I remember from the 70s and early 80s, the Cardinal jerseys and the gray.
They have, I think they have 10 different uniforms they can wear. Can you believe that? 10 different.
Adidas gives Troy whatever they want. They've been really good to Troy.
Yeah.
Now, what about Oregon? You talk about uniforms; they've got about 30 variations.
This is also Larry Blakeney Field, Veterans Memorial Stadium, Larry Blakeney Field, and we're awfully proud of it. And don't you? How do you like that different shades?
I like it.
You like that?
Yeah.
Mike, of course, it's got one.
You think Alabama, if they ever honor Nick Saban, it'll be Nick Saban Field, and they'll write Nick Saban Field on the field? I can't see Alabama.
But we did mention something yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't watch our show, very few teams in the SEC have artificial surfaces, but now Ole Miss is one. The question was, does Vanderbilt have all
yeah, they're on turf. Yeah, I've been to Vanderbilt Stadium.
All right, so that's two. And Tennessee, they're on regular grass.
Tennessee's grass. Arkansas, I believe, is turf.
Everybody else is regular grass. Is that right? So if you can afford to have regular grass.
Only stadiums I've not been to. I have not been to A&M. And I have not been to, I've been outside of Kentucky Stadium, but I've never been into a game there. I've been everywhere except there is what I was thinking the other day in the SEC.
What Johnny Cash sing, I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you need to go ahead and go to Texas A&M so you can knock that off your bucket list.
But
when Don Maestri was there, we could have had a tour of the school and we could have walked around. We should have took advantage of it.
We had fun yesterday with this. Now the goalposts are down. I'm sure they probably going to bring in new goalposts. And we were talking yesterday, and Rice brought this up that the goalpost at LSU is different than any other goalpost, maybe in college football, Mike. Have you ever seen it?
That is because it's got two poles polls.
Yeah, 2 polls, yeah, which I like. I think
Hey,
it's real good.
we were talking about trivia questions. I've got one for everybody.
All right.
Name the only school in the last 6 years that has not regressed in wins the following year. In other words, they have won more games than they did the year before, or at least won the same amount of games. They never lost fewer games in the next season.
It's probably got to be Alabama or Clemson, I guess.
No, I'm going to say, what? Is that the answer?
No. But
Vanderbilt.
That's a good guess. No.
Okay.
And my source is the coach of this team made this point in his comments at the SEC Media Days, so that gives you a clue.
Florida.
It's going to be Kentucky.
That's right, Kentucky.
Yeah.
They've either won the same amount of games the next year or more games. They've started when he was there. They won 2 his first year, and then last year they won 10. I think they had a couple of years where they won 7.
I'll go ahead and say that's not going to happen this year.
Credit Union, one of our prime sponsors. We appreciate them very much, and also the First National Bank of Troy Brundage. And I want to say hello to all the Ramages. There's been a Ramage running that bank ever since 1904 when Mr. John Ramage started that.
The only people more excited about college football starting are the Ramages.
That's right. Of course, no question about their loyalty to the University of Alabama. All of them went to school there. Of course, Troy Nissan on the bypass right here in Troy. We appreciate Dwayne Webb and all the great folks there.
Dwayne and Connie are my neighbors.
That's right. And they have a beautiful place. They bought the old Tip Colley house.
So do you think Dwayne Webb would be good from about 30 yards out if we had to have a
Dwayne
game?
Webb was the first soccer-style kicker in Troy high school history. I'll tell you that for a fact. Dwayne Webb was a good athlete. He really was.
He's still in good shape.
And,
he cuts his grass
I joke about
every Saturday.
Does he? And he cuts your grass too, doesn't
Sometimes he cuts my grass. He says, the neighbor's yard is embarrassing. I want to help him out.
I want to mention my good friend Johnny Withington at the Withington Group. Remember, you're in good hands with Allstate. See Perry Green at Withington Group.
I'll tell you Perry Green's story.
Yes, sir. Tell me about Tank Green.
My claim to fame was I was the third string quarterback on the state championship team in 1980.
Yeah.
And but Perry Green every week would give us a motivational talk or a spiritual talk before all of our games. And they must have been pretty good because we went 13-0 and won the state championship.
Yeah, sure did.
But J. Jeff Coate and Perry were good friends.
Yeah, and of course Perry's a great man, great preacher, and I go way back with the Greens. I'm the guy that gave him the nickname Tank. I gave a lot of nicknames.
I bet you did.
To people over the years. Tank Green. Have you ever heard him called Tank? Mm-hmm. That's all I ever call him is Tank Green. We've always, never thought of him being anybody else.
I'm going to find the column my mother wrote for the Troy Citizen. She noticed that Troy in Pike County was full of people that were only known by their nickname, that you couldn't even tell their people.
Who? Yeah, the Red Baron. Yes, sir. Of course,
anyway, she listed all of the nicknames of all the people she knew, and she listed them by category, like colors or food or something. But it's fascinating how so many people, you wouldn't even, it's like Boy Moats.
Yeah, Marshall Boy Moats.
Well, so you knew 95% of the people would never know Boy Moats' real name or Tip Colley.
Yeah, Tip Colley.
My grandfather was Hickey Chapman.
That's right. How did he get that name, Hickey?
His real name was Hickory, and it was short.
Brother Chapman.
A lot of brothers and sister
right.
Bebe Hendricks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fascinating. I'm gonna try to find that column and bring it in. And one point she made, or I've made, is people don't go by nicknames like that, like they did in previous generations.
Bebe Crow, the late great Bebe Crow, Gerald Bebe Crow, and people love to hear that about the Crows. Of course, Cheryl's one of my close friends, and
didn't they call Cheryl Rook?
They call him Rook. Well, let me tell you, that was his first business that he brought to.
I remember
called Rook
I used to eat
Pizza.
there all the time.
They really call him.
That's the only reason Blake Crow had any friends is because his dad owned Rook's Pizza.
That's right.
That's a good friend to have.
We don't care for Blake, but we're going to eat real good.
But you know what, Mike? He named Rook was just the name of his pizza place, Rook's Pizza. That was the name of it. His nickname was Sally, Mike. They called him Sally. Sally. Sheryl Crow's nickname was Sally. Now, Daryl, his brother, I don't know if he had a nickname. I don't believe he did, but you're right. Jabbo Barron, what was Jabbo's first name, that might have been Jabbo Barron.
Buck Corley, well, that one is his real name.
That's right. And I think about, I've always called Buck, and he's one of my best friends, and we grew up together. But I never thought it'd be anything else other than Buck. But and it sounds pretty good on him. That sounds like a cowboy anywhere else. But he was Louis J. Buck Corley. How about this? Louis Fox, Sonny Williford. See, Sonny was his name is Louis Williford, but his middle name was Fox, and they call him Sonny. And
we could go on, and I'm sure
Ronnie Lindsay, one of the best athletes ever come through Troy. He'd be one of the top, probably 5 or 10 overall athletes who were so good in every sport. But they called him Runt. His nickname was Runt, and it tickles me how nicknames can be a part of growing up,
And I'm not surprised that you gave a lot of people their nicknames.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I did. Now,
he did it because he was a big bully back in the day.
Well, I tell you, one of the guys, Mark Kelly. You know Mark Kelly?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mark Kelly was a good little football player, tough as nails, and I called him Mama, and I still call him Mama. Because his grandmother owned a hotel right there called Hotel. It was right across the street from the Firestone dealer. You know where that intersection is, right across there. And that was an apartment complex.
Yeah.
And it was owned and operated by Mama Kelly, Miss Kelly, his grandmother, and everybody called her Mama. So I coached Mark in football, and I had some great rovers. All right, he was one of my rovers. Mike Hogan was one of my rovers. You know what I'm talking about.
What a great guy.
And then the other one was Tatum. Mark Tatum was another one of the rovers. Those were 3 rovers at 3 different years that I coached at Charles Henderson, and they were all good players.
Yeah, Coach Hogan's one of my favorite. He was the defensive coordinator on that state championship team, and really.
Buddy, he can dance too. He and his wife were on the dance floor this weekend.
He
really were good.
Helped build the baseball tradition at Charles Henderson High School.
Well, and of course, we say this, and talk about these guys that had these nicknames, but
I'm trying to think of something from my era. You remember Chuck Norris?
They call him
12.
Too tall.
12.
Why they call him 12?
For the 12 Tower. Remember when they built the WSA tall tower? Well, Chuck was 6'6", 160 pounds.
Yeah.
But who gave a lot of people nicknames was Tim Archer, who we called Pig Archer.
Yeah, did you?
That's Coach Archer's son.
Yeah, I know him well, yeah.
But he had a knack for giving people nicknames. I remember that.
Yeah, no
Pig.
question. Yeah, no question about it.
He used to call me Little Pony.
Well, Kerry's brother, Kerry, and said we all grew up playing football in his front yard, and we played tackle, and Kerry was a hitter, and he had a cage on his face mask, because he had some kind of lick there that they didn't want to break his nose any worse than it's been broken, so he had a cage, and he played linebacker. He didn't weigh but about 145, 150 at the most, but would knock your head off, and his nickname was Sticker. the sticker green. Stick him. How many times you heard a coach say, stick him, stick him? Tom McClellan said stick him a lot, and Kerry Green stuck a lot of folks. Oh, and we had, I'm sure there was some more. Wayne Qualls played in for us, and real sharp guy, got a scholarship to Birmingham Southern, and very good friend of mine, and we called him Cue Ball. You know, he loved to shoot pool, and he was always in the pool room, and we called him Cue Ball.
One of my friends in Chuck's class, Eddie Barnett, Dr. Barnett's son, Kim Barnett's little brother, everybody called him Eddie B. They never called him Ed or Eddie. He goes by Ed now, but I've changed it from Eddie B to Eddie G because I stopped calling it sound. And then we started calling him G-Man.
Yeah. Now, there are a lot of people out there that are going to say, oh, you didn't, oh, you didn't. What are you talking about? Well, let me just say this. When I was a little boy, my daddy used to take me in the pool room. You know, in the pool room, the cleanest Mr. Vernon Qualls owned the pool room, and was very big and good businessman, and he ran that pool hall. Clean as a whistle, and then, you know, the drink machines were nice, assortment of drinks, not any beer, all soft drinks.
I can remember going in that pool.
And everything was clean, and he could also work on your radios and your shotguns. He could do all kinds of things. He was a graduate of Mississippi State. But he used to joke with me when I was a little boy, and my daddy would bring me, and would have to bring me in the pool room because my mother would be shopping downtown, and so my daddy, who was a pretty good pool player too, he and I'll tell you a little nickname he had, but Lacey Qualls used to call me Lacey Drawers. He'd say Lacey Drawers, and you know, and I was just a little kid, and he was always kidding with me. Every time I went in there, he called me Lacey Drawers. Well, I started calling him Lacey. And all the way through high school and all the way through college, many times. And I'm going to make people cry out there, guys like me. I used to go there before I would go out on my date. I'd sit up there and get my shoes shined.
Yeah.
See, everybody would get the shoes
What
shined.
happened to the shoe shine?
And he was either watching TV or busy, and of course he ran a clean, beautiful pool hall. You know, the tips on the cues were perfect, and the felt was perfect, and nobody ran it. People from college and people all over that played pool on that pool room would say it's the cleanest they've ever been. But we used to sit in there and talk back and forth, and he really was a good role model for a lot of kids. And
wasn't that pool hall located where Landmark Realty is?
That's right, and it would open about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and stay open about 10. And hey, my daddy would rather for me be in that pool room than be down in the soda shop. He felt like I'd get in less trouble because Vernon Qualls was going to tell me what to do and when to do it.
And right across the street was the Five and Dime store that when I came to Troy to see my grandparents when I was a little kid living in Opelika, the big thrill was going to the Five and Dime store.
That's right. I was in Douglas Brothers yesterday, and of course it's one of the, I think it's the second oldest business in Troy. It was founded in, I want to say 1868, something like that, or 69.
I mean, what business is older than that?
No, I think it was 18, Mike, 1868.
I know, but I mean, what's the oldest business?
Well, the Troy Messenger is the oldest business. The Troy Messenger was right around 1864, 1865.
But owned by the same family, though. The Douglas Brothers has all been owned by the same family all those years.
Either a Douglas or a Qualls ran that, and they still do today. And my buddy Qualls carries a firearm on him. Did you know that?
No,
like a cowboy.
A lot of people do.
If you have permits, you can wear it like a cowboy.
You remember when we talked about the rash of robberies in the country club neighborhood? What struck me is that police said that
I think
three firearms were stolen in one night from cars parked in front of their houses at the country club. And I said, dang, there was a lot of people that are packing heat.
Well, let's say this. I think they have found that guy, and so hopefully we won't have it anymore. And I want to mention our good friends today at Horn Beverage on the bypass in Troy, and of course Donna and Booty and all the great folks. We appreciate them very much.
Booty, is Booty a nickname?
Yeah, Booty's a nickname.
There you go.
And you're right, a lot of nicknames out there. And of course, I want to mention also Cinco Drugs, and of course located on North 39th Street, right here, just off the square in downtown Troy. It's an excellent drugstore, and it's owned and operated by Walt and Kristen Sanders, and we appreciate them very much. Of course, the pharmacist is who? Cinco Drugs. Charles Cinco.
That's right. Yeah, he's an institution.
Of course, I also want to mention our good friends at Express Lube and Tires on the bypass, and also they're getting big into the front end alignments. They do all kinds of front end alignments. They do all kinds of work on your automobile. Not only are they in the lube and tires, but they're in maintenance of your automobile or truck today. So pull it in.
Yeah, Express Oil Change is great to have in Troy. I mean, I was spoiled in Birmingham. I remember when I lived there, we had about 30 of them around about every other block. You'd run into one, but that's great to have in Troy now.
No question. They're great people. Chris Nottman, the Nottamans are a great family.
I remember when Chris started that. He has done really well with that business.
Well, he's a very good businessman. Want to mention the Matthews Law Firm, home of Will Matthews.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a call from Will. I saw him on Facebook in pictures with Tommy Tuberville.
Oh, boy.
He's running for U.S. Senator.
Yeah, he told us that he's supporting Coach Tuberville.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I could vote for Tuberville because I fear the thumb.
Yeah, exactly. How does that work now? Let's see.
He beat Alabama 6 times in a row.
That's right. That was terrible. They came out with that T-shirt like that, 5 and 6.
He's walking that back now that he's a political candidate. I've heard him make several complimentary statements about Alabama and Coach Saban in the last couple of years, because he wants to get a few Alabama votes.
I want to mention the folks at Dalco Rentals in Enterprise, Alabama today. And
Hey, if we talked about
rental.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's Richard and Warren Dowling's business in Enterprise. Two loyal Trojans.
They're big into the rental business, and of course also have a lot of opportunities to buy great
You
lawnmowers.
can go by there and
so
then go by and see Andy Falk and buy some furniture at PS Falk Furniture in Enterprise.
That's right. He's a great guy, and of course you've known Andy Falk all his life, and
yeah, I've hung out with Andy a lot in life, and we've had a lot of good times. He's a lot of fun, and I tell you what, he's got one of the cooler stores you'll ever see as far as driftwood and teak wood, and he travels all over the world bringing in all these cool wood products.
And I tell you what, it's the hardest place in the world saying, all right, now we're going to go in here and look, but we're not going to buy anything.
Yeah, you got to buy something when you go in there.
You see prices that you can't believe.
I've got some hand-carved stuff, like he goes in these villages and all these different teak and driftwood. I've got like a huge crab out on my porch I can see right now that I bought from there, and all kinds of other just cool stuff. But he's got bedding and lights and couches and furniture. I mean, he's got all kinds of stuff.
You can see on their ads. It's a great
I'm thinking that this is the last real full week of school.
Yeah, this is it at the beach. I'm so happy living down here. The last 2 or 3 weeks have been crazy packed, so I can't wait for this to be the last week.
Troy City School starts on August the 8th. And Troy University is a little bit later than that.
My wife goes back to school. She's a teacher at Charles Henderson, and she goes back tomorrow. Teachers go back tomorrow, so summer over for them.
Now, is your wife from this area, or
she's from Montgomery?
Born and raised in Montgomery.
Yep. Her daddy is Frankie Fryer.
I didn't know that. Frankie Fryer from Brundage.
Yeah.
Boy, Frankie and I are good friends. Frankie was a very good wide receiver, and of course his quarterback was pretty good too.
Yeah, Randy Walls was his quarterback. Yeah,
Frankie Fryer was a good athlete. And there's another guy that came on this show the other day named Frank Fryer.
I know there's two of them.
All right, he played first base at Auburn and was an all-SEC player out of Brundage, Alabama. And Frank Fryer is a friend of mine. And I don't even think they're even kin, are they?
I don't think
Frankie Fryer, of course, lives in Montgomery, and I've known him for years. And like you said, he was one of the
Carrie came
very good receivers.
My wife, she was going to go to Auburn, and at the last second, I think she went. At the last second, she decided to tour Troy and fell in love with it, and then she came to Troy and just loved her 4 years here. And so we were living in Pike Road in Montgomery, and she was looking for a new teaching job, and she wanted to move to Troy so bad. So.
I want to mention our good friends at Troy Health and Rehab on the Elba Enterprise Highway, and of course long-term rehab, short-term rehab. We appreciate them being a part of our show, and they've been a great supporter for a long time. So remember, Troy Health and Rehab, the long-term health services and rehab. We appreciate them very much. And Hook's Barbecue. Mike, you still claim that Hook's Barbecue has as good a ribs as anybody in the country? Do you really believe that?
I mean, it's real close for me. I mean, the original Dreamland, of course, I knew one of the brothers there.
This is a barbecue guru now.
Sounds like
I would come in and I would go to the original Dreamland.
Coffee.
And those ribs, if you can get them on the right day, are still probably my favorite. But Hook's has got to be probably second.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like falling off the bone meat. I mean, it's really unbelievably good. And I'll tell you, there's a new place in Birmingham before I left that's out of Nashville, Tennessee, that opened over in off Mountain Brook over there, Martin's, that has really good ribs as well that I liked a lot.
You like short ribs or long ribs?
I like the spare ribs is what they're called. They're kind of like in between.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you.
I'm not a huge, baby back ribs fan. Those are just too small for me.
A new grocery store down the street here.
Grocery Advantage?
Yeah, Grocery Advantage. They were advertising the other day beef ribs. And, sirloin beef ribs for just very reasonable price.
I need to go look at it.
See, that you're right. See, that sirloin meat, that's just like steak off a bone.
Well, I told you I'm on the low-carb diet, so that would be perfect for my diet.
And today, listen to this. How about this? A whole gallon of milk for $1.98.
Ooh, wow.
That's a really good deal with kids, especially.
So they have some great values daily at
I'll tell you that. I had to go to Publix down here all the time because it's
look here.
Only real grocery store at Publix is $3.99.
Yeah, and of course this guy's a legend in his own mind. I tell you, he was born and raised here in Troy, and he sits up there and answers all these questions.
Brings us good information. See, we got a production staff around here. We need all the help we can get. You might have noticed that we're not too good on remembering movie names and people names and. I bet people are probably screaming at the TV trying to help us out.
I did go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino's film. That was
all right, how did that go?
Well, I mean, you got to watch. I mean, if you know Tarantino, he does things his own way. So trust me, it's a spin off Hollywood back in the old days, but it was good. It was real good.
All right, who starred in that?
Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt.
All right, well, I want to go. They've got that here in Troy today.
Hey, well, let me just tell you this. You better make sure you eat something because it's 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Whoa! I like it, though. I like it. I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to get that big old tube. I'm going to get that big old tub of popcorn and get one of the largest Diet Coke right here. And I'm gonna have a little straw for my wife here and a straw for me, and I'm gonna eat and drink Coke.
It's based on like 1969 Hollywood.
I would like to see that. My wife, your mama always likes that architecture, back then.
I love Tarantino. Now some people don't like him at all, but he is original as nothing else.
Yeah.
And I love his dialogue in his movies. And he'll have long scenes where the characters can talk to each other for 10 minutes. You rarely see that in the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, DiCaprio is really amazing in it. I always thought he was probably one of the top actors out there, but he might be the best there is.
He really is.
It's really good too.
He really is good, and just look at all the shows he's been so good in. One of them, I think, probably is the top one is his portrayal of the billionaire Howard Hughes.
He's great in Hughes. Yeah,
What
he's great in the
name
Great
of that movie?
Gatsby.
What
He's
name was
great
that?
in,
What name was that movie? That one, Rice. What name of that movie?
The Howard Hughes movie? Yeah.
Yeah, but it was called.
It was good.
And then.
You say the one where he was the Wall Street.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that
Wolf of Wall Street was incredible. Yeah.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street.
They was over the top.
He's great in The Departed. He's great in that movie. That's one of the best crime movies you'll watch. He played Hoover too.
Yeah.
Well, he's been in a lot of Martin Scorsese movies, and the Gangs of New York with.
Yeah, that was one of his first movies, Gangs of New York.
Well, he became a superstar with Titanic, which
Yeah,
is,
the Titanic. Wonderful portrayal there.
Yeah.
Hey, I like him a lot in, with the movie Catch Me If You Can when he plays.
I thought that was great. I watched that a lot of
And
times.
then he won the best actor for the movie where he was left for dead when the bear mauled him. And
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I didn't like that one as much as some of his other portrayals. All it was a hunt in the snow. But I'll tell you something. What was the thing that you'll always remember about that show? Always.
I remember.
I never saw that.
You remember him jumping down? It was freezing cold, and he jumps down in this canyon. His horse had broke his neck and fell off and it broke his neck, so he was going to freeze to death. So what he did, he cut out the inside of the horse, and he crawled inside the carcass of that big old horse and lay there and kept warm and was able to keep from freezing to death. You remember that part of that show?
Now that you
that was pretty gruesome, wasn't it?
Yep.
Then he cut that big old horse and he crawled in there.
You want to talk about gruesome? Tarantino's first movie was called Reservoir Dogs. It's actually fantastic, but whatever you do not let children
let kids watch that movie.
It's too gruesome and gripping. Harvey Keitel was in it, and a lot of people are in it.
Well, let me tell you, the star of Taken, to me, is an excellent movie star.
You like Liam Neeson?
All right, now, have y'all ever watched? Did you ever watch that movie with the wolves, where they had a plane crash?
Yeah, that was good.
And those wolves was eating everybody. Well, the wolves ended up eating all of them up. You remember that?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
That was but when you talk about one that would give you nightmares, that one would. And he's an excellent actor too.
He was Schindler in Schindler's List.
Oh yeah, that was an excellent movie.
And his wife, he lost his wife in that terrible skiing accident. Remember?
No, I didn't know that.
The cute, the very pretty lady that was in the remake of Parent Trap.
Well, I saw Parent Trap last night. It was great.
Well, she was the wife of Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
That's Liam Neeson's wife.
Oh boy, she was beautiful. And last night I watched Parent Trap.
Yeah,
I watched that last night.
Her last name was Richardson.
That's right. She was a lovely lady.
I didn't realize that. And of course, now she spoke English in that show last night. Was she English?
Yeah, she was British.
Yeah. But he is a good actor too, and plays some good roles. But hey, you're right. Who's the best actor out there?
Neeson's he's got to be in his 60s.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, he kind of remade himself as an action star with those Taken movies.
Exactly, and Schindler's List was excellent. And also, what was the movie that he was a pianist? You remember the movie The Pianist?
Yeah, was he in that?
Don't get me wrong. I'm saying pianist.
That was Harvey Keitel.
No, his name Harvey Keitel. What's his name?
That's the one with the actress that's so good?
Meryl Streep? No.
No, you know, he was
no,
a piano player in Germany during the war. He's Jewish.
No, that's not him. That's Adrian Brody.
Yeah, Adrian Brody. Now, he's a pretty good actor now. And you remember that movie, The Pianist?
I'm thinking about the
He
one
played the piano, and he was a Jewish guy that had to escape the...
I've never seen it all the way through, but it was
an
critically acclaimed movie.
I would recommend it. Let me tell you something.
Hey, I'll tell you this. One thing that you will like if you go to that movie, they did the previews for Mr. Roberts,
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Yeah, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And Tom Hanks is playing Mr. Rogers, and it will just creep you out how much he sounds like him.
Oh, now, is that movie already out there? Is it already out there?
It's coming out this fall, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. with Tom Hanks.
That'll be really good.
I read an interesting article on the 25th anniversary of Forrest Gump. AL.com had a lot of tidbits about the making of that movie.
Excellent movie.
And Tom Hanks is famous for the voice he created for Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Life is like a box. We can all do it.
Like a box. I thought that was one of the life is like a box of chocolates. So you just reach it, because how many times do you reach in there and it's not particularly the one you want, and you stick it back in there?
But he said he got that voice. The youngster that was cast to play young Forrest Gump, you remember, that had the braces on his legs?
Yeah, that's right.
He listened to him, who was a real Southerner, and listened to the way he talked, and he said, well, if he's going to play him with this voice, my voice as an adult needs to be similar to this kid's. So he based his voice he came up with Forrest on the young child actor.
Well, I tell you another great portrayal, and it probably didn't get near the acclaim that a lot of them, was the movie Big, where, you know, he shrunk and down to a kid, you know.
That kind of made him a star, didn't it?
And I thought that was a good movie.
He was in a sitcom that was, you know, mediocre, and then he became this serious, I think the Mermaid movie, Splash, might have been one of his big roles, too.
Well, I don't remember much.
Ron Howard directed it. Daryl Hannah was the Mermaid.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
I couldn't get into that one, I don't think.
You'd like it.
The one I got in there is when his plane crashed in the
Castaway.
Castaway. I thought that was a very good portrayal. What segment of that show sticks out to you?
Castaway?
Yeah, Castaway. What sticks out to you?
When he had to take out his own tooth.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. When he had to pull that tooth, and you know, in the movie, hey, everybody's getting a toothache watching it. Oh gosh, you know, he got it out like that. And I've had some toothaches when I was growing up that would abscess, you know, and it would swell up.
It's fantastic.
And he grabbed that thing and he tied it up and he hit it with a stone. That was one of the most gruesome segments of a movie I've ever seen.
What happened to the actress in that movie that was so amazing? She was great in that. She was great.
I thought, no, she is a great.
Something's got to give with Jack Nicholson.
What's that girl's name?
You never see her anymore.
Helen Hunt.
Yeah,
you know who favors Helen Hunt? Was Burton Green's daughter Sally Green favors Helen Hunt.
She does a little bit.
But Helen Hunt, I think, retired, but she was an excellent actress.
As good as it gets was the great Jack Nicholson movie she was in. Yes, she was fantastic.
But
I think you occasionally still see her, but these actresses have these little windows where they're big for about 4 or 5 years, and then
all right. Do you put the
only one that stays strong is Meryl Streep. She still does it.
Right. Only female men can do it. It seems like.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack Nicholson or Robert De Niro or Al Pacino, they're going to get parts their whole lives. But you don't see the women actors that get to do that.
Jack's favorite portrayal was Here Comes Johnny.
You can.
You talking about Shining?
Yeah, Shining. Here comes Johnny. No.
That's it. It was the Shining.
I thought that was in the insane asylum.
That's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That wasn't it. But now he played in some great shows and was one of the all-time greats.
Jack Nicholson's great in the Departed as well.
Jack Nicholson has had many iconic film role. He's one of those actors that if he's in it, you want to watch the movie just because he's in it.
I like him because he's a regular guy too. He's out there at the ballpark, huge Los Angeles Laker fan, but he's a sportsman, and he's quite a guy, no question. But you think about Forrest Gump though, and that's got to be one of the best portrayals.
Yeah.
Of a what would you say he had wrong with him? Was he
he was probably on the autism spectrum.
Yeah. And the way he portrayed himself, I thought was excellent. And again, the picking him to play that part was a genius.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but that same year, 3 iconic, classic, all-time great movies came out in the same year: Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, which I love.
Well, I bet I've seen that show 10 times.
And Pulp Fiction, the most famous Quentin Tarantino movie that's doing this Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
All came out in 1994.
There are 3 things that are sort of gruesome in Shawshank. Tell us what they were. Do you know, Mike?
One of them I can't tell.
Well, one of them.
There's a lot of gruesome parts of Shawshank. The worst is when he's breaking out of the prison and he has to go through the sewer to get his freedom.
Oh yeah, that was pretty rough too. Yeah, no question.
Pretty rough.
I like that part of it, and then of course the guy shot himself, and he was fixing to shoot him, then turned around and shot himself.
Isn't it interesting, Mike, that some movies don't get the appreciation they deserve until years after they came out, and Shawshank Redemption was kind of ignored when it first came out. But it was played on TV so many times that people discovered it. Another movie I hear that 2 movies fit that criteria that weren't appreciated as classics when they came out. It's a Wonderful Life did not do very well or receive a ton of...
That's your Christmas. They bring it out during Christmas, but you don't see a lot of Christmas going on,
That's true, yeah. And then The Wizard of Oz was no big, huge sensation when it came out either.
Yeah, that's right. But now, Steve,
Shawshank Redemption is...
That music in The Wizard of Oz was what was so vital in that.
The same guy directed The Wizard of Oz that directed Gone with the Wind. Well, they had several directors for both of them, but the guy who ended up getting the credit for Gone with the Wind also did, and they came out the same year.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, on movies that cost a lot of money, I would not. I thought Gone with the Wind had portrayed the old South and the way it was, when the latter days of the Civil War, burning down Atlanta and all that.
Amazing.
That was quite a portrayal, and I reckon that's where the book was written, and portraying all of that, and the life of a very wealthy Southern family, and the great lifestyle they lived before the war, and then how they had to live without nothing.
Can you imagine the work that goes into making a movie like that?
Yeah.
You could make a movie, or there have been documentaries on the making of Gone with the Wind, and the guy that did it was the producer, David O. Selznick. He's called the producer, but I think he ended up writing some of the script and being the de facto director. But all the logistics, think of the scene where Scarlett walks out in Atlanta and you just see the wounded and dead bodies on the street that just goes on and on and on. How do you set up a scene that big? It just...
And she looks up on the mount. She looks up on the in the dining room and sees this green drape. She pulls it down, and before long, she makes a beautiful green dress.
Mammy does.
Mammy does.
Scarlett don't make that dress.
And I don't
what's the greatest TV miniseries of all time? Lonesome Dove or North and South? I'll go with Lonesome Dove.
Well, some people say Roots. I go with Lonesome Dove.
But gee, Michael, don't be talking about my girlfriend Virgilia. Virgilia was my girlfriend.
With Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones is unbelievable.
I agree. Have you read the book?
I have not. I don't know how to read.
All right, what are y'all talking about now?
Lonesome Dove.
Oh yeah, I love Lonesome Dove.
The miniseries is great because it's completely faithful to the book. I mean, the dialogue comes straight out of.
Well, I think he's one of both of them are great actors, but I think my buddy
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall is one of the all-time greats. And can you believe?
You're in The Godfather.
Yeah, and what I'm saying in The Godfather, he didn't even, his personality was completely different, you know.
What movie did Robert Duvall get his debut in? See, surely y'all know
this. I don't know exactly.
He was the next door neighbor.
The Godfather was The Godfather in the 70s?
72.
Is that when it was?
Yeah. Robert Duvall's debut, as far as I know, was To Kill a Mockingbird. He was.
Was he? Okay.
What's that guy's name? Bradley, or the guy that lived next door that Boo Radley.
I didn't get that. Gregory Peck, though, was a great actor, one of the all-time greats. It's amazing that you have that they just stand out like they do. Gregory Peck. Give us other great actors. Of course,
Spencer Tracy.
We forgot when we were talking about this the other day. We didn't mention Gary Cooper.
Gary Cooper.
Humphrey Bogart. I love
Humphrey Bogart. I mean, these are big-time actors.
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart was an all-time great actor.
You talk about acting toward the forces. I want to name 2 courtroom scenes and see if y'all remember these. The Kane Mutiny. Do you remember that movie where the ship captain is awful and
I didn't get involved in the Kane Mutiny very much.
But well, you'd love it. The crew mutinies, and they're getting ready to lose the case and be convicted until Humphrey Bogart, the captain that they mutinied against, breaks down on the stage. Actor Jose Ferrer gets him to break down, and that acting of Humphrey Bogart losing it in front of everybody is awesome. And then we talked about Jack Nicholson, his movie where he is the Marine Colonel.
Yeah.
What's the name of that movie, Michael, that with Tom Cruise was in it? And he says, "You can't handle the truth."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's called A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men.
Exactly. That's another good one-liner that you.
Dad's favorite movie, Top Gun's coming out again. There's going to be a new Top Gun in 2020.
That was my favorite. But I was still.
Tom Cruise is like in his 50s now, and he's still trying to play these younger roles. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise broke in one of my favorite movies, Risky Business. Y'all remember that?
Oh, yeah, that is good.
And Tom Cruise married a girl that was a foot taller than he was. That hurt him. I hate
Nicole, you talking about Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, she's about a foot taller than he was,
She's married to a country music star.
Yeah, and really seemed to be very happy, too. No question about it. Clark Gable, of course.
She was from Australia.
Back in those early days, of course, picture shows or film was so much more popular than it is now, it seems like, because that was the only source of entertainment. You went out on a Friday or Saturday night with your date and got some popcorn and a Coke. That's all you had to feed them, tell you the truth.
You know what Dad said one of the reasons he liked to go to the movie? It was the only place in town that was air conditioned.
Oh, yeah, well, and now Bud Casey, my old partner here, of course, very good friend of your daddy's and good friend of mine, and he used to go to the picture show, Mike, just to buy the popcorn. I mean, he parks out in front and goes in and gets a barrel of popcorn and goes out, goes by his way. So why don't more people, I know it's expensive popcorn, but it's the best popcorn you can get anywhere. Why not just pull up and go and get your popcorn and move around?
I worked with a guy in Birmingham, and his wife was pregnant. She always craved movie popcorn, and he would have to go do that like once a week.
Movie popcorn is better than anything else.
You can't go to the movies without popcorn, and I'm on this low-carb diet. I can't have popcorn. So I want to go see the movies, but I say I can't go to the movie because I'm going to get a tub of popcorn.
I go to the Pier Park movie theater quite a bit, and I get that butter, that hot butter. Whoa, boy. Oh, and my wife didn't like it as much because we stick the popcorn here in between us and all that, and I'm grabbing it. But it's delicious. And
Yeah, I'll tell you who's making a
Yeah, I
killing.
hear Enterprise has got a new movie theater. Greenville has had one for quite a while, but this one in Montgomery is an excellent movie theater. How many movies can you see at that place?
I think it's 12 or 13. They had just built that before we moved from
And
Pike
so,
Road.
so if you went there without getting a schedule, you'd find some movie you'd want to watch. Is that right?
Yeah, it's right there across from the Walmart
Yeah,
and next
exactly
to Home
right.
Depot on Chantilly
Well,
Boulevard.
let me tell you this. I had for lunch yesterday a wonderful hamburger from Goldfinger's. And the French fries were the best maybe I've ever eaten in my life. They were crinkled, but they were crisp crinkles.
Yeah.
And then I had a hamburger and an order of French fries. And there was a lot of people eating there. And of course, they're famous for their chicken. Real good. I also ate supper last night at Jack's Hamburgers, and it was wonderful. I had the chicken.
It's open now, huh?
And the hamburger.
You sound like you're eating real healthy.
Well, I just had to stop and talk to the manager. And
You know what they say about Jack's? Like you go back to Jack's for more.
You know, Jack's was almost extinct,
Yeah.
and you almost hardly saw them. I mean, there might
Yeah,
be
we
10
had a
left.
Jack's growing up in Troy.
But
And
let
then
me
all of a sudden, it is roaring back.
well, let me tell you what they're rolling back with.
They got great breakfast.
Fried chicken, potato salad, green beans, that type of thing. They're big into chicken now, and I'm glad.
You know, Hardee's used to do that, and then they got away from their formula that made them big. But Hardee's would have chicken and roast beef and hamburgers.
In fact, I was supposed to give away.
Hardee's makes it on breakfast. That's all they need.
Yeah, exactly, and so does Jack's. Now, everybody is crazy about Jack's, and I was reaching around to try to find my...
Jack's has really good burgers, and they have really good breakfast. I used to manage the
get it out
Bryant
of my
Conference.
pocket.
You used to
I
what?
used to manage the Bryant Conference Center in Tuscaloosa, and it was so close to the Jack's near the practice field in Tuscaloosa. So Jack's, every time we'd have events, we'd have different conference rooms, and they would rent out Jack's to have a buffet set up. And I think I ate Jack's a week for at least a year.
Yeah.
And I've tried everything they've had. It's pretty good.
I did read that Jack's parent company just sold to somebody else
Out of Canada.
for
Really?
a lot of money. So
Yeah, they started in Birmingham and Homewood, and then I guess they got bought out by some Canadians.
I had some giveaways today, and I can't
Well,
reach them. or whatever.
where's Jack's located in Troy?
Located right up in front of
by
where
the old Ken Cox Ford, maybe that you before it moved.
well, that's been a ways there, right across the street from Arby's,
yeah.
pretty much.
Okay.
And a brand new one, and they were crowded last night, and and of course I recommend that $2.99 haircut today. I promise you, located right next to your favorite grocery store, Mike.
Publix.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of Andy Griffith lately in circa 1964, and I think I saw the prices of haircuts in Floyd's barbershop, and they were either 50 cents or $1.
Yeah. Golly! Who said golly?
Gomer.
Oh, Gomer came out of Sylacauga, Alabama. Hope you enjoyed watching our show today, and you can pick us up again on the
Flip side.
channel on the flip side at 1:30 today, and we'll be back with Max Howell on our show tomorrow, and we'll be talking more and more football as football season is here.
And let's talk some more movies too.
To me, it's fun. I hope you're enjoying this, and call in and give your version of Movie Land. And I'm going to that movie tonight. I'm going to go to that movie tonight.
It's getting pretty good reviews.
And I like to go to the movie during the week, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll have fun
And
eat
I'll
a lot
eat
of
a
popcorn.
big thing of popcorn with some hot butter on it. Hope you had a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.